Hey everyone, this is my week 3 update at Lovable Shipped. I'm Harnish and I'm building Git Compass. Git Compass is an AI tool that instantly onboards you to any code base. This week's demo is going to be very quick. Main goal this week was to work on the backend AI agents for the app. Um, and I'm going to show you my backend architecture real quick before I jump on the working demo here. So it's a complex diagram. I didn't do a good job of rendering it, but don't get overwhelmed. The top big rectangle is just the front end. No need to worry about that. We just get the repository URL from the front end, um, and that basically kicks off the repository analysis API in the backend, which will then start the agent service in our Agno framework. So Agno is basically a Python framework that I'm using to build my AI agents for the app. So Agno agents are really flexible and very lightweight, and you can natively build those in Python. They have like knowledge base, reasoning tools, knowledge tools that you can use, attach them to all sorts of different things. My agents are attached to a quadrant. You can see right here to a quadrant database, which stores the whole code base. Into like a vector database basically to reference it during any of the calls. So repository analysis starts and the main task goes to the team orchestrator. So it's just a big team of agents, specialized agents that work on a specific task. So for example, the code scanner agent would be scanning dependencies in the code. Tech identifier looks at the tech stack, and so on and so forth. So the team orchestrator would be orchestrating all of these agents, giving them tasks and giving them reasoning abilities along with the knowledge base that comes from the quadrant vector database. And yeah, they just work towards their goal basically. And once they all get their output back to the team orchestrator, and it stores the final output into the SQLite database that I have right now, and then the front end can reference the database to get the information. That's basically all we have for the architecture, and we can move on. So the interactive demo for Git Compass is available on my landing page. But this week I've been trying to integrate the back end with the front end, and I'm still not 100% done, and it's still not in production. But I can show you how far I have gone. If you click on new analysis, you can just enter your GitHub repository and click on start analysis, and it takes only about 2-3 minutes to finish one analysis. So if we check this one out here, you can see the code scanner result basically gave us all the different file types that it found. It told us, okay, these are the configuration files. So like any Docker or like requirements or any pip files that the code base might need. And it also just roughly tells us what the architectural pattern is. So it uses Flask blueprints, API versioning, and it also tells us the technology stack. So it's using Python and JavaScript for the front end, it's using Flask in the Python backend, and for the database it's using SQLite. This is just a random repository that I found for context. And it tells us what libraries are being imported and all the different development tools that you might need. Moving on to the architecture, I know I'm still working on this. This one just gave us an error, but the data flow diagram actually gives us a beautiful diagram. It's not the same one. I'm not using React Flow, the one that's on my landing page. So for the MVP, I'm just keeping it simple, just seeing how well it works. And the last section is the code zones, which will basically tell you which parts of the code are very critical, which files have the highest number of dependencies, and what sort of risk factors are there in that file. So the new developers should sort of stay away from those files and instead look at the safe zones, where basically changing these files wouldn't mean that you're harming the application, even if you end up making a big mistake. And along with the critical and safe zones, it also suggests some good first issues that a new developer could work on. So if you go through the architecture, if you go through the data flows, and if you go through all of the code zones, you can actually start working on some issues. It also suggests you some issues that you can work on. So that's basically how I want the MVP to look like. If you want to onboard into any code base, this should instantly let you do that. Next goal would be to get this going, get this giving out some good outputs, and get it up to production so I can give it out to the waitlist users, the Circle community, for free, for people to just explore and see what sort of things they can do. Maybe try to break the tool. But yeah, that's the next step. That's what my goal is for next week. By the end of the week, to ship the MVP beta version. Yeah, thanks, guys.